TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, TikTok may be up for sale, or they got to somehow divest all their Chinese assets if they want to stay in the U.S. The Supreme Court made this decision coming out today. And so now everybody's gearing up for a chance to bite at the apple here. We'll see. We will see whether or not it's going to come to fruition. Donald Trump had been asking the Supreme Court to maybe take a step back and wait for them to come out to some kind of resolution that wouldn't involve them having to sell off all their assets. But, he wanted some kind of political solution. But right now, increasingly, it looks like the Supreme Court really doesn't think that this is necessarily the best option for America. I have mixed feelings on this because I don't think it's entirely free speech. I think a lot of these companies try and say that they are all about free speech, but I'm not really sure that that's entirely the case. This is Chinese owned, don't forget. And I know I have a TikTok account, what gets through, what doesn't get through, what gets banned, what doesn't get banned. And it always causes me to raise an eyebrow. Anyway, Kevin O'Leary, I think he's Canadian. I don't know if this will work, right? He's a foreigner too. He's stepping up to the plate saying he'd love to buy it.
And we want to. And then on midday, 12:05, Trump will be who we have to work with to close the deal in the months ahead. So I wanted to let him know, as well as others in his cabinet, that we're doing this, and we're going to need their help.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting story to watch. I want to go back to that, but I want to.
So what really happened? Basically, there were arguments that were heard for and against banning TikTok. And the U.S. government is expressing these concerns that China has control over TikTok and has for years. And so they're saying, look, Beijing could really exploit this platform and use it to collect data on individuals. So for an espionage function, as well as spread disinformation or propaganda against American interests. And so that's kind of an interesting thought. I mean, that's where it starts to get really tricky. I will tell you from personal experience, I think ByteDance, which is the company that runs TikTok, does do some massaging on its own, right? I mean, I just know, because apparently even if I just talk about tariffs, I'm in violation of some kind of hate speech there on TikTok, right? I boring talk about tariffs, and somehow, you'd think that was something else entirely. So I suspect there's like some kind of mandate, right? And there's no appeal process. You can't do anything. I mean, if you've probably seen it on Meta. I've seen it there too, right? So I feel good over here on YouTube. I feel good on places like Rumble and Twitter. I mean, X. Think of what Elon Musk has done for X. So, yeah, I mean, if it's actually freedom of information, it's freedom of information. But if it's not really free, if it's going to be controlled by a state actor, and China wants to control everything, then where does that leave us? It leaves us at a disservice. So I think ultimately what you're going to see here is that TikTok is not going to have the same rights to the First Amendment that an American-owned company would have. This is why Donald Trump tried to arrange a deal with Larry Ellison, his buddy who started Oracle, multi-billionaire. Larry Ellison wanted to buy TikTok. That deal didn't happen. So Trump was very, very against TikTok until, he thought it was helping him in the campaign. And now, given also that one of his buddies and campaign donors owns a large stake in it, I think he's trying to find some kind of solution that would work for everyone. We want a solution that would work for everyone, right? We don't want to be in this standoff with China. We don't want the Chinese controlling one of our major social media companies. We do want freedom of expression. We do want I say, let's have X buy it, right? Because I trust Elon. We can have X buy it. What do you guys think? It's going to be something. I'll tell you that. It's really, really, really something. I would say that there's been such an indoctrination going on over the last several years, but really over the last couple of decades, if you think about it, really and truly. This stuff just didn't come out of the blue. And it's one of the reasons why I'm really proud to tell you about a partnership. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm going to tell you again about my partnership that I now have with Herzog Foundation. it's all about advancing Christian values and Christian education. You know, I've certainly been talking for years about how our nation's public schools are just a disaster and how they've been captured by these progressive, really destructive, in my view, ideologies, teaching things to kids that really directly contradict the values of so many American Christian families. I mean, especially if you're Christian, right? Because they don't like it. They don't like the Christians. They don't like the religion. That's just, you know, for small-minded people, as they'd probably say. So for those of you that are worried right now about what is the best path for your children or maybe your grandchildren and for their education, I am thrilled to tell you about Herzog Foundation and my partnership with them, because these are just great folks. It gives me really tremendous pleasure to talk about this. They are the trusted source, really and truly, on education, K through 12, private education, with a remarkable suite of resources for parents and for grandparents who are thinking about making the switch from public schools to a Christian education. And for those that are already in Christian schools as well, they have the online publication, The Lion. They have a new podcast, Making the Leap. The Herzog Foundation is offering a wide range of advice and information for Christian parents who want to make the best decision for their children's education and for their family. So to learn more about how your family, faith, and community can flourish through a quality Christian education, please go to herzogfoundation.com. Again, that's herzogfoundation.com. herzogfoundation.com. You got it? You got it. I know you guys do. I know you guys do.